So what's going on, man? What's new with you? We're sitting here with Chris Malone.
Yeah, living the dream. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parenthood and fatherhood times 2 at this point, and
wow,
trying to find the next step in my career.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the last time you were on the podcast was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
7 years ago.
It's amazing how time just goes by quickly.
I know. It's crazy. So you were out at the Auburn Citizen.
Correct.
And how long you were there for? How long?
It was just under 2 years. It started in December, right after my contract ended with CY Central. And then the day I left CY Central, I went out to Auburn to sign the paperwork. And David goes, "When's your last day?" I'm like, "Well, technically this morning." So I just quick transition from one job to the next, which was, in a perfect world, that's super ideal to, navigate that, not having to go navigate unemployment and go from one endeavor to the next.
Yeah. You've stayed in media for pretty much your whole career, right? I mean,
almost, just about. I mean, 2014 was when I first got the taste of it. Ty Marshall saw my blog, my awful. It's amazing when you look back at things and see what you wrote and like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
I'm putting this out to the public. This is awful. I need an editor. And he had faith in me and put me on as like not volunteer, but just contributing blogger, not paid. And that led to employment with New Times part-time, and then with the Citizen in 2015 as well, part-time. There's a little, who's going to put me in hire me full-time next? And New Times did, and it's just trickled from there.
Yeah.
With few nonprofit experiences and woven in between and on the side, or whether it was for employment as well.
You were at Picnic Hugo for a little bit, right?
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, I've heard that's a pretty long tenure for a Picnic Hugo, I think.
Well, it also, I've never really done copywriting. Mm-hmm. Chris, took me on as a risk, and then it was during COVID, so I had no interaction aside from Skyping with staff members, and not that in the office, relationships, having the ability to build friendships and camaraderie. It's just, I felt most of the time I'm sitting at my computer twiddling my thumbs like, what am I doing next? What's going to happen next? And it is what it is at this point. I have no bad blood against them, but it's just, it was during COVID. What are you going to do?
Sure.
You're not going to get the full blown experience.
Yeah. And then you went from there to CMI Central and then to Citizen.
Right.
Yeah. And you were at Citizen, yeah. So what were you doing at the Auburn Citizen?
I came on board as municipalities, and so I was focused mostly on towns, villages, governments, what's going on in and out of that. And David also gave me restaurants and new businesses, and had to stop writing the restaurant experience articles for CMI 55 Plus, Rochester 55 Plus, and Oswego County Business Magazine. So that, conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So when it's the new businesses, restaurants, did a lot of best favorite places to get a burger, best places to have, outdoor seating, that sort of, niche. And also kind of dabbled into environmental issues, solar. Renewable energy was a big ordeal in the last, over the last few years in Cuyahoga County and the surrounding communities, and tapped into solar energy, wind energy, and get both sides of those perspectives. And that's very in depth, and there's a lot to it. There was a lot to learn.
Yeah, was it fun?
Yeah, it was fun. It's a lot of fun learning something new, especially when you're, trying to research everything and then trying to not sound like an idiot when you're talking to people, professionals in those fields. Whether I don't know if I can name any companies I spoke to, but just like outreach, like the coordinators of that, and not sound like an idiot. Like, I've done my research, but I don't know the full blown nuts and bolts of how solar energy works.
Yeah.
I don't know what these not contraptions, these pieces of equipment do? Do they radiate energy? Do they radiate heat? How do they affect the environment at all?
Yeah.
How does this impact local growers, farmers, and their progress? And most of the time there was a lot of pushback from them as well, saying that this might not be the best idea for my business. But at the end of the day, it's like these businesses come to these people. Can we lease your land? And it's whether or not yes or no. So
yeah, it's pretty interesting. Did you see a lot of like outside big companies outside of New York coming in to try and do that?
Mm-hmm. There were some. There was one Washington D.C. agency that came into the Wasco area. Mm-hmm. But he had local ties. He lived in Beeville, and it's nice to know that someone who has this business is looking to succeed, to kind of tap into the renewable energy world, and see how does Central New York have value in this? Do I have value in going back to Central New York and tapping into the land and seeing what may or may not come about it?
Yeah, that's what the natural resources of Central New York is what concerns me about Micron. Mm-hmm. If it's actually going to happen, who knows? Right. I think like a lot of people out there, we all know a guy who knows a guy who he's really high up at Micron, and I heard, that it's not going to happen, and then I heard that it is going to happen. Right. And I'm trying not to be like I'm a negative person as it is, mm-hmm. and so I'm trying not to let that sort of be my, I'm trying to make sure that it's not just my general negativity, right, that's fueling my thought that Micron is going to happen, right. But who knows?
See, I never thought you as a negative person.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, you have your thing. You're trying to promote people, showcase people and businesses in Central New York and across New York. Yeah, and it's not a negative business. So,
yeah, I don't put out the negative messages. I don't put out like the bad reviews about restaurants on there because, yeah, I don't know. I started the business to try and be like help out a struggling restaurant, and so that was kind of the motivation. It'd be a lot easier and probably funnier to just be like, that place sucked. But I did it last year at Congo Box in Syracuse, and the owner wound up sending me a DM saying he was going to kill me the next time he saw me in public. Oh. So I was like, okay, there's no point in doing that anymore. And then also, like, I don't know if you ever follow any like social media out of Albany.
No, I don't think so. No,
I don't much, but there's two different influencer groups out there that have been sued by restaurants for posting negative videos about them. And so it's just like in today's world, there's no point in doing it, really. Right. But I do think of myself as like a more negative person. Okay. Which isn't good. I don't want to be that way, Chris. So as being a skeptical person and cynic, I guess, I look at Micron and I'm like, I don't know if it's going to happen, but again, everybody goes back and forth with it. I hope it does, because just on the financial side of Central New York, like the growth potential of Central New York, they're going to bring 50,000 jobs or whatever that number is. Mm-hmm. And they say that for every factory job like that, there has to be 3 supporting roles, whether it's like medical, education, restaurants, Mm-hmm. And so, sure, if that brings 150,000 new jobs to Central New York, that's awesome. Right. But I do worry that it's going to destroy the environment. Just like OpenAI and everything else is.
I need to get myself, I kind of tuned out of Micron a little bit just because I have other things going in my life. This big company's coming in, may or may not stay, who knows. But I was like, I have other things to worry about. Keep little ones alive, keep my job alive, and focus on everything that's going on there.
Yeah. I hear you there. Maybe I have too much time on my hands. That's why I'm worried about it. But who knows? But there was just some like number. I was trying to Google it. I'm gonna Google it now.
Okay.
There was just some. Actually, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Because the stat that I saw online, which who knows if it was real or not, was that ChatGPT uses something like 120 gallons of water to proofread your email.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That I think is the biggest question that I have. Like, do we have all this? Do we have the water? Do we have the capacity to feel this?
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know the details of it. I'm asking it, how much water do you use?
Yeah, I am one of those people who I like going. I love the environment. It's precious. This is our planet. Let's not disrespect it.
Yeah.
And yeah, those were one of the biggest concerns to me. I love going, having to go out and see natural beauty and have people come here for the natural beauty, which was one of the bigger things with the solar energy and wind energy projects. Like, are these turbines and solar panels going to detract from the environment? What's the lasting impression? How is it going to affect tourism? Because people want to come out, take pictures of foliage in the fall. They want to enjoy the landscapes while they're sitting out at our winery or looking over a lake.
Yeah.
How will this all play into factor?
Yeah. I was way off. It says for every paper report, kilowatt hour of data center energy consumption, 2 liters of water.
Okay.
I was way off. Way, way, way off. But yeah, it's still a lot of fucking water.
Yeah.
Think about how many people are using ChatGPT to do every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you feel about, as a journalist, as a blogger, as a person that comes up with your own words to tell a story? How do you feel about ChatGPT?
I'm not a fan of it. I overheard. I mean, I think I understand. I get both. I get both perspectives. It's a tool. It's a good tool to have. If you don't have, people to help you out or have that capacity to pump out content. At the same time, I was sitting at a cafe and I overheard I think he was in his late 20s talking about how he uses to AI tools to just, you feel his content. And he was happy about it. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, he uses it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, where's the creative in this?
For sure.
I want to know why, maybe you have a lot on your plate. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do. I just heard the fact that I use this all the time. Mm-hmm. And this is what creates my content. And he was happy about it. And he's sending it to people and I'm like, okay, but they're not getting your, true who you are.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to know. They're going to assume that this is who you are.
I have found that it has made me dumber. Really? I have been in typing in a prompt into ChatGPT, I went from misspelling, just typing quickly one word and like a 40-word prompt or whatever, to misspelling 50% of them.
Right.
And just because I'm like, I don't care, you'll understand anyways.
Okay.
And so I noticed that. And then I noticed that there was just things that I was like trying to process on my own, coming up with an idea for something. And I was just mush. My brain was just mush. Mm-hmm. I mean, and so once that clicked, it was like, oh shit, I need to stop using it. And so It's almost become like a badge of honor for me to say, I did this by myself. This was my idea. I didn't search anything on the internet. Mm-hmm. I didn't use ChatGPT to come up with the idea. I did this on my own. And some people I talk to, when I say that, they're like, who cares? I did it faster with ChatGPT. So I kind of hold it in regard to that. I've thought about writing a book for Eat Local New York and like 101 places to visit around the state. And I go back and forth between, I feel like that's something I would want to sit down and write.
Yeah.
That would take me years.
Right.
Or I could come up with the premise, the list of restaurants, and go to ChatGPT and say, write this book and have it done in probably a month.
Right.
So
interesting. What are your thoughts? I give a lot of people credit for writing books like that, like these places to go, things to do. And then it becomes outdated because after a few years, maybe 5 or 6 of these restaurants or 5 or 6 of these venues close. And like, coming from your perspective, who wants to write a book like that, how do you, knowing that there's a risk involved with, okay, this book will become outdated if a bunch of places close. And what's your take, and what's your how did you go about this, and like how do you figure there's value in that?
In the book, or in like I guess on the one side of things of what happens if they close, I've thought about that for a while, because the early days of Eat Local CNY, I wanted to produce a cookbook of recipes from different restaurants. And that was my biggest concern, was like, what if they go out of business and close?
Right.
And I just think that it's just something, if anything, that just kind of stands as like a time capsule of the time when. And I think that sort of answers that question.
Yeah.
And I think books are impulse buys, right? It's like something that like makes you feel good when you purchase it. And if you're somebody like my wife reads 7 books or 5 or 6 books a month.
Nice.
And so they're all fiction, but and half of them, like if you look at one row on the bookshelf, you could convince she's going to try and kill me and get away with it, because it's like she had enough. She learned how. She used the knife. Nobody ever found out. It's like those are all the titles of the books. And so, but she reads a lot. She reads for about an hour every night before bed. I just took 4 days to read the introduction to a book. Now, granted, I wasn't sitting there, but I was a person who has not read a book from cover to cover in 5 years. It took me forever to just like focus on the words and not pick up my phone and check that text. And it took me I listened to a ton of audiobooks when I'm driving around, but it's not the same thing.
Right.
And so I think it just becomes sort of that, like, you want to have the paper in hand, and so I think even if the places have closed, it'll work in that regard.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
I like the whole time capsule thing. There's one woman, Linda Lowen, she wrote a book about like things to do in Central New York, and it's great. It's a great book. It's an interesting read, and it's great to like it's a time capsule. Like you can go about like saying, well, this doesn't exist anymore, but who cares? It's nice to kind of reflect and everything. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about writing a book? I'm sure you have.
Yes. If you ask my wife, she'll be like, I've been bugging him since we've been together since 2017. So probably 2017. It's just carving out the time, spending as much time as I do on the computer as it is writing articles or looking things up and researching. It's the last thing I want to do at the end of the day is go on the computer again and continue to write or type or all that.
Yeah,
it's tiresome. And then it gets to the point where it's like it's at night and you don't want to be on the computer right before you go to bed because that affects sleep habits, and I like my sleep.
I was really I used to be very into writing, and I would read books and listen to podcasts about it, and interviews with other authors, and them just saying like, if anybody tells you they enjoy writing a book, they're delusional. There's nothing enjoyable about writing a book. You have to lock yourself in a room and be alone and figure it out.
Yep.
Word after word and hour after hour.
Yeah.
And I think I watched the documentary on J.D. Salinger from years ago. It was, I don't know how many years ago it came out. He was a psychopath.
Oh, yeah.
Legit psychopath. I mean, he would like marry super young teenagers, fall in love with them, marry them, get them pregnant, have a bunch of kids, and then be done with them.
Right.
And I think it was his daughter was interviewed, and she said he had built this cinder block structure in their backyard, and he wore this same one-colored jumpsuit and he would just go and lock himself in that structure in their backyard and not come out until the book was done, or come out like for a few minutes every day. And she would just talk about like going in the backyard to play and just seeing, dad maybe pop his head out or something. But, I mean, he was a psycho.
Yeah, I don't want to get to that. I don't want to get to that point. Like, I want to like not poke my head out, but play with my kids. Like,
yeah. Stephen King was like some of his best, most popular stories were when he was like super high.
Yep, super high, drunk, and
who wrote
his accident and painkillers? Right.
Who wrote On the Road?
It was Kerouac.
Yeah. I mean, he wrote it in like what, a week or something crazy? Or he was like just on speed and popped it out.
And he's one of my favorite authors.
So,
my lifestyle is not like him at all, but at the same time, it's like I kind of admire this.
Yeah. I feel like the people who do extraordinary things are people that, it's especially in that world, and even in music and maybe film.
Yeah.
They're complete psychopaths. You shouldn't emulate their life.
Right.
But there's something that comes out of being a psycho. I mean, even in business, it's like some of the most successful businessmen and women, but especially men, are people who maybe not abandoned, but like never spend time with family.
Right.
But have this incredible success in finances and money and business, but they're just gone from their families.
Right.
So it's a strange sort of thing.
Right. I mean, you don't want to be married. It's I guess it differs from person to person. I don't know if you want to call it being married to your work, but if you're that involved or that obsessed with your passion, your profession or your passion, there's probably a gray area there too. It's like, where do you find those, lines to kind of even yourself out a little bit?
How is it different? Do you notice, are you a different parent than what you experienced growing up?
Yeah. In some regards, I think so. My parents were very hands-on as well, but I'm trying to be very hands-on with my kids as well. I try to not emulate, but just be involved in some capacity. My mom stayed home to take care of my brother and I, and she eventually got a job working at one of the school districts. But my dad was primarily the one working all the time, whether it was working nights or working during the day. He was working for IBM, so the hours were flipped around quite a bit.
Did you grow up in Binghamton?
No, I grew up on Onondaga Hill.
Oh, okay.
Near Onondaga Hill, I should say.
Okay.
Near the Veteran Cemetery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what school did you go to?
West Genesee.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, some of my friends' parents would joke when they brought they were brought over, like, how are you not in the West Hill School District, or how are you not in the Marcellus School District? Because there's a neighborhood right adjacent to the one where I grew up, Marcellus.
Gotcha.
Right down the road is West Hill, and then the other direction is OCS.
Okay. Yeah. I was West Hill, but the street that I grew up on, there's like a section that's West Hill District, and everything around it is Solvay. Oh. So we were in the West Hill District.
Okay. So you were in West Hill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So right off Orchard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm a little bit different of a parent. I mean, our son's only 3, so I guess time will tell, right? It's a little, but I feel like I'm a little bit different. I mean, my parents' careers were very different than most people's, and so it wasn't so much like a 9-to-5 sort of a parent, or where it was like, but they had a lot of odd jobs when we were growing up. So it was like we did spend more time than typical. Like when I was 9 or 10, my parents owned a restaurant, so we were pretty much together all the time, but just because we were always at the restaurant.
Yeah.
But I tried to be home every day by 4:30 or 5 when my wife and kids, she goes and picks our son up from daycare and come home. So I try to be home by 4:30 or 5 every day. And then I try to not do anything If I'm going to go out, if I have something at night, I don't do it until 7:30, until bedtime, you know. And I think it's like part because I don't want to have to burden Rebecca with like taking on too much, and part because I don't want to like miss time with him.
Right.
So, unless it's like a huge paid opportunity, I won't typically miss those 2.5, 3 hours, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it was like that in our parents' generation. I don't know if they thought about it as much.
Yeah. I never really asked, to be honest.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I remember, you know, my parents reading to us as, you know, Katie and I are very, you know, adamant about, you know, bedtime routines and reading before bed and hanging out and just kind of decompressing a little bit with the kids. My dad was the bigger reader between my parents, so I, you know, remember those stories going, you know, just hanging out with him and reading with him. But yeah, it's like something I want to kind of continue. I don't remember what age that stopped. I want to kind of continue it as long as I can to, you know, have that bond with literature or, you know, and music as well. Just we had a turntable and tape player growing up, and it's amazing how that came back, and I'm playing records for the kids, and my son's picking up the harmonica and just like trying to play along, even though he's 14 months old and doesn't know anything. He's like, I like this. I'm going to dance.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was watching, there was a time with Anthony that we were able to like listen to our music and watch our shows. And then, you know, as he got, you know, 1.5, 2 years old, it switched into, now it's cartoons and, you know, Blippi and all that kind of shit. But I've been creating a playlist for him on Spotify that's like 500 songs deep. And so one day he'll get that. And I also started recording podcasts to him. Okay. And so like from the time that we found out Rebecca was pregnant, I started keeping a journal that I would give him one day of just like, hey, it's, you know, whatever the date is, and this just happened, and checking in with him. And then I just physically writing stuff out. Yeah. It's sort of a joke, but it's also serious. Like my brain works too fast for me to physically write things to him. And so I just decided I would switch it to a podcast, and then one day he'll get all of those, which might be annoying, but yeah, so it's just, it's pretty strange being a parent. Yeah. But I think a lot about, I don't think a lot about this, but the thought has crossed my mind. If I would sacrifice and be a shittier dad, my sort of business would grow so much more if I said, hey, listen, 5 to 7 every weeknight is a great opportunity for me to go to different bars in different cities and meet the restaurant owners and all these different people and sort of like network and expand the business. Right. I'm sure I would have a lot more money coming in if I did that, but I would have to be a shittier dad. Right. That goes back to the whole Salinger thing. Yeah. You know, where's that, you know, give and take. Yeah. And I honestly, the same thing, you know, a lot of my work when I'm trying to contact restaurant owners, it was a pain in the ass because sometimes they'd get back, sometimes they wouldn't even get back. They would express interest. And then I'm not going to mention who, but I went to the restaurant one day for an interview, and they completely canceled on me. We had this time and date scheduled. I was ready to go. Our friend Kevin Rivoli came. He was ready to take photos, and everything went to hell. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, come on. Yeah. I've had that happen too with even just recently doing stuff. Yeah. We were going to Cortland and reached out to a restaurant, and the general manager who like answered the phone call was like, oh, wait, so you're just trying to get free food? I was like, no. We're making a video to highlight your restaurant. Right. You provide a dish for us to highlight. And she was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. She's like, if you want to buy food, that's one thing. I was like, you're out of your fucking mind. Yeah. We experienced that a couple of times too. Like, are you going to buy the food? Or we'd love to showcase a dish. Yeah. You know, it's, you know, part of the reason why we are coming here. Right. And some people were very like, cool. All right. Awesome. Other people, like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, yes, I understand this is part of your business, but you know, figure out how much food of yours goes to waste, you know, on a daily basis. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's something I don't know if, I mean, I'm still surprised by restaurants who haven't gotten the whole publicity thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just like, Cetas in Syracuse is opening up a second location and put out this post of like, if you're an influencer, apply to send us a DM and we'll consider if we want you to come in and do a video for our grand open. It's like, dude, that's not how it works. Yeah. Like, I understand we're in Syracuse, but still, that's not how it fucking works. That kind of stuff is just still crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So what do you think your book would be about?
I've had a few ideas. There's short stories have been sitting on the back burner. Many short stories have been sitting on the back burner. So nice book of short stories would be one of them. Another one is kind of a horror. And then the other one is, just like I try to take a perspective from like an independent film, not a love story, not a coming of age story, but just one of those in the moments, one camera follow you around type of,
that's cool.
Type of story. But I need to get cracking on those. Even starting a new blog that has been swirling through my mind. Where do I go? Which platform do I use? Do I need a particular theme? Because my other one didn't have really a theme. It was a blog about nothing, just and I have my ideas. Just where do I want to take this before I start tapping into it, and how do I want to promote it? The title for it is the working title is not appropriate for I think people would get the wrong idea, but if they would read it, it's more of a positive spin than anything else. But including a swear word and the title of a blog may or may not sit well with people, is especially from a professional level, until people get to know me.
Yeah.
And how would that affect future employment? How would that affect current employment?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, even like the podcast that we're recording right now, we're not supposed to swear. We're to fine. We can't, and we're going to bleep it. But because of a sponsorship that we have now.
Oh, okay.
But
I'll keep it clean.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do you think of the future of blogging and all that kind of stuff is? I mean, with with like AI, ChatGPT, whatever the source is, do you think that, I mean, there's still some writers that I follow. This guy, there's a former food writer. He's a critic out of Buffalo. Like, I pay for his Substack because,
cool.
I think that stuff's important in upstate New York to have like an actual food critic. So I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the by and large, like when you say like, I don't know how to promote it. My first thought is make videos on social media.
Right.
But
do we go that route?
I know. Yeah. But at that point, you may as well just make the fucking video.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a weird world because so much can be accomplished through AI and ChatGPT. But
yeah, I mean, I just don't want, if I do a video, which, like my brain moves faster than I can write or type.
Yeah.
It's like, do I want people just looking at my mug the entire, however long the video is going to be?
Right.
Like, I don't want people to suffer through that. I want a little bit more substance. I'm not I need to get a little bit better with video and editing and that fun stuff. But
yeah,
I don't want people staring at me the whole time.
Yeah.
It's about, I've always had that perspective. It's about me, but I don't want it about me. You have a podcast. It's not about you, but it is about you at the same time because you're providing this service, this creative outlet for people to watch, to listen to, and to hopefully enjoy. It should speak paramount to who you are, what you do, and I don't like that.
Yeah. It's tough when you're the host of a show, like a podcast. Yours is actually the first, I forget if I ever told you this. I'm sure I did. Back when I was recording the podcasts, because yours is the second episode back from like a 6-month hiatus.
Okay.
And when I was first started the podcast years ago, I would research all of the guests pretty extensively leading up to the episode.
Okay.
And try and get as much information, like a guide for the show as possible. And I interviewed Jimmer Sikowski, I think that's his last name, he was the owner of the first Chick-fil-A in town. Mm-hmm. And I interviewed him because I knew the model of Chick-fil-A ownership and like their approach to customer service. And so I wanted to interview him and get that perspective from somebody in Syracuse that would be informative for other restaurant owners.
Yeah.
And so the only information I really found online about him was from a Syracuse.com article. And the entire interview was me referencing that Syracuse.com article and saying I've used the joke in the past. It's like the Chris Farley sketch in the day where he's the talk show host interviewing Paul McCartney. He's like, remember that time you were in the Beatles?
Yeah.
It's like, that was awesome. That was the equivalent of the podcast I did with this guy. Mm-hmm. It's like, so I read in the article that you went to Duke. Is that true? It was just awful. I came off that episode and then you were the next guest in the studio. I didn't have any time that week to prepare for you. And so you and I just sat down and had a glass of bourbon, I think, and just shot the shit.
Yeah.
And that was, I felt like a great conversation.
Right.
And then from there on out, I stopped preparing for any guests.
I mean, it's good to have some preparation.
Yeah.
I mean, who am I? Like, it's like Chris Malone. Who?
Yeah.
What do I have to prepare with him for? Nothing. Okay.
I think about questions going into it that I'm interested in asking them or getting their perspective for the guests, but that's sort of it. I just think about them. I had Sharon Owens on we recorded the first episode back with her, and so I had questions for her, and I did like a tiny little bit about research with her, but other than that, I've got another guest coming in after this. I have no plan of what we're going to talk about, just like I did with this.
Hey,
and I think that those podcasts, as long as they're not full of silliness, I think that those work the best.
Right.
As long as you can get somewhere, kind of get in the groove with the guest and have a conversation about something of substance, I think it's fine to go in not prepared.
I mean, absurdity is great, though. I mean, I love absurd humor. I think, going back to Monty Python and the bits and the sketches and, my experience with improv as well, I like absurdity. Of course, you have to like hone it in, especially this is not about that. We can shoot the shit and talk about like go from topic A to topic C and then even go to G a little bit. Like where are you going? But you have to get back on track. So since we were talking about writing is hard. It's very difficult. Find a great editor. I feel bad because I probably, gave David more gray hairs than anything and probably increased his spending habits on alcohol. So David, thank you for bearing with me.
That's funny. What do you think the future, because I don't know I'm sure the answer is no if I asked you the question, and I don't think it's being used at like Syracuse.com, but I could be wrong. Would you use AI for anything, assistance when writing articles, when you were at the Auburn?
I would use, what the heck is Grammarly?
Yeah.
That's it's especially with an editing, once you're done with your article and you've looked through it, it's a pain in the ass to go back through and, David call out, or, it's great to have an editor. It's great to have those extra set of eyes to look at everything saying, you spelled this wrong. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Grammarly, was hit and miss with sometimes, especially with rewording what you wanted to say. When you're quoting somebody, you'd have to hit pause and like, no, I don't want you rewording this. And even something simple like that, AI could screw up an entire article. You could just say, okay, fix everything. And then it misquotes people. Then you're screwed. Like, you don't want to misquote people.
For sure.
Yeah.
There was a time I was putting out captions in the tone. I was having ChatGPT. I would sit down and say, I need a caption. The video is this restaurant. I tried this dish. Here's what I thought about it. I need you to rewrite this caption in the voice and the tone of Anthony Bourdain. And it sounds like something Anthony Bourdain would say.
Right.
Doesn't sound like me. but it sounds like something Anthony Bourdain would say.
Yeah.
And you could do that with anything.
Right.
I mean, you could do that with any writing, video, song. Have you heard the 50 Cent? The people have taken 50 Cent and like had the music reworked so it's like 50 soul.
Oh yeah, I've heard like variety of like different artists.
Yeah.
And
Many Men. Have you heard that one? We're gonna play that real quick.
I have not heard that one. No.
I don't think we'll get copyright because it's not technically us. Because it's not technically 50. Kyle, have you heard this? Kyle's the producer back there. Rogan was featuring it on his podcast recently. 50 Cent. It is insane how good it sounds.
That's a pastor right there. Come on.
So this is 50's Many Men.
That's great.
And so they just went to AI.
Yeah.
I don't know what software they used, but they went to AI and said, take 50 Cent's Many Men and turn it into like a 50s soul. And it's this banger of a song.
Yeah, it sounds great. Like that's really cool.
It's nothing. It's not 50.
No.
You know, it's not authentic in any stretch of the imagination, but it's good.
Right.
And so I don't know. It's tough. You know, it's a tough world to be in when AI can take over the creative aspect of something.
Do I find AI, what people have used AI for entertaining? Yes. I've laughed at many things. I've like, this is kind of cool. This is very thought provoking. At the same time, I just don't, I'm not the type of person who wants to rely on it. I want my creative footprint in this, and I want my blood, sweat, and tears, on this page. And
I feel I know the analogy has been made countless times. I feel like it's leading us to idiocracy. Like it's, that was a prophetic movie about, what the future of America looks like.
I stand by this, call me crazy, but the movie WALL-E, the Disney movie WALL-E, I feel like that's not far off either. I feel like this planet is going to hell and people don't give a crap. And we're going to be living on spaceships with technology in front of us the entire fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, pay attention to what's around you. But the question is like, okay, if everybody's paying attention to these screens on their little seats and they're tooling around the ship, they have babies in the ship. How are they making babies?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That was never explained, Disney. Come on. How are people making babies if they're too involved with their screens?
Yeah. It really does worry me about that kind of stuff, because there's so many people that are, by and large, I would say, if I had to guess, I would say the majority of Americans are like, oh, did you see the Stephen Hawking Sora video of him going down a, vert ramp?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, like people are just going, just like, I think it was the King family finally got it banned, but you know how many people were going to Sora and saying, like my friends were sending them to me all the time. They would take the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech, that video footage, and it would be Martin Luther King saying, I have a dream that Kevin Durant's going to have 3 rebounds tonight and 4 assists. And I'm going to bet that, just crazy of people creating content. And I think the majority of Americans across the entire country, if you polled all of them, I would probably say the majority of Americans would be like, that's hilarious.
Right.
Or just like those AI crazy, stupid videos. I don't think you and I are in the majority of saying, shit, we're all going to be right now.
Yeah. I get a lot of people push technology, and I'm with this. That kind of leans into the whole cell phone thing in classrooms. Yeah. Should kids not have cell phones at their desk and everything? Yeah, I'm fine with it. Put it in the basket, but this world's crazy. You don't want them to not have access to something and say, "Hey, mom, there's something going down at the school," or "Hey, I need insulin or my medicine, and I'm not getting it for some ungodly reason."
Yeah,
I think having some type of access, like quick access if necessary, is crucial.
Yeah,
but it shouldn't distract from what's being
for sure.
in front of you.
But 3 years ago, I was I was working for Abbott Farms for like a couple of years doing their social media in Baldwinsville, and then 1 year they asked me to like kind of go in and take over the bar that they had that they just never had open. And they're like, you know, you run it, we'll give you a percentage of it. So I did that for 2 seasons. They had this like 16-year-old kid who was homeschooled, who was worked in like their bakery. If you've been to Abbott Farms, it's like you walk in, right? So there's the store and it's all open. There's like the bakery and then there's the bar. So it was like a slow Thursday night. I'm behind the bar, tending bar. I have my computer. I'm sitting there using ChatGPT to proofread a caption or something. And this kid comes over and he's like, hey, he's like, yeah, slow night. He's like, what are you working on? And so I told him, I was like, oh, I'm editing a caption for a client and just putting it through ChatGPT. And he's like, what's ChatGPT? And so I was like, you ever heard of ChatGPT? He's like, no, what's that? I was like, it's this AI software that can do anything for you. And he's like, what do you mean anything? I was like, what do you want to know? And so he's like, what? And so I'm showing him how ChatGPT works. And I can see the like whites of his eyes getting brighter and brighter as I continue to talk and show him. Yeah. And he's like, can it write papers? And I was like, it could if you wanted it to. He was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. And so he came in the next day and he was like, I had to do all of my homework in like 30 minutes last night. I was like, oh shit. I've just ruined the child. But yeah, I feel like overall AI, slop, all these things, it's going to destroy us.
Right. It's nuts.
Yeah. I don't know if there's, you know, what is it today? Is like, is there a sect of people? Is there a small group of people that have been speaking up saying, stop using ChatGPT, start writing more books and reading more books and being more authentically creative, you know, humanly creative. I don't know, but more and more as I get older, I want to, especially as I've like gotten into hunting this year, I'm like, I want to move into the country. Let's get away from Syracuse, and you know, because we live right in the city. So it's like, let's get out of Syracuse. Let's go. Let's not go to a suburb. Let's go somewhere in the country. Yeah, an hour away from everybody. You know, and they don't use ChatGPT.
No, can't get it. You can't get the service for it.
Yeah. So what do you think the future? So you think you're gonna relaunch this blog, or you're gonna wait and kind of see what happens?
I'd like to relaunch it just to, I don't know. It's again, what direction am I going here? Yeah. It's not going to be they're not going to be long entries. I plan on, you know, a couple hundred words, not, you know, 700 to 1,000 words. Just, it was like micro blogging, I guess. Yeah. And, you know, just like a more, not a negative look, but like a humorous, positive take on probably negative topics. I don't know. Yeah. Or just life in general.
You gonna bring back Fritter Friday?
I don't know. I've had probably all the fritters around here. Yeah. It came up, I forgot when it was, maybe it was a couple years ago. It was either Katrina, who was it from Syracuse.com? I think it was Katrina, or it was somebody saying, oh, he just reviews the donut fritters. I'm like, no, that's not correct. You know, I've gone to, you know, the standard apple with a coating fried. Yeah. But it's like pizza. It's like, okay, it's a style. It's like New York, the regular apple fritters are just like a New York City pizza, slice of pizza. Like, it's a particular style. Right. I feel like there's more variety with donuts because like McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, where they just use the apple gross slop filling, as opposed to actual apples, like from either, I'm gonna drop names, I don't care, Green Hills or Lincourt Bakery or Cameron's. Like, those are fantastic.
Yeah. I can't say I've had them. I'm not a huge apple fritter guy.
That's okay. Yeah. I don't judge you. I don't judge people on that.
Awesome. All right. Well, Chris Malone, you've said it all.
Almost.
If anybody is listening to this and they want to hire Chris, they want to hire you, how do they get in contact with you?
Facebook would probably be the easiest, or Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tag you.
Chris _ Malone.
Okay, there it is.
People can fill in the blank with whatever word or adjective they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, listening to this, and you're looking for somebody that's going to come and do some creative work for you, and you don't want to use ChatGPT, that's your guy. All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it.